And it's one of those situations where you got to listen to both sides of the story.
Yeah.
Because the ex-wife was only saying how that guy was such a scumbag, a piece of crap. And when you look at him, you know, you're going to get first impressions because he has tattoos up to here, tattoos everywhere. He looks like he's going to...
Tattoos are so trashy, dude.
Absolutely.
It's insane.
But...
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Winners Only, where we talk to people who are winning at life, business, relationships, whatever the case may be. Today we have on Jay Mirando.
What's up?
Yeah, so I actually followed Jay before I moved to Vegas. It's Flipper Jay on Instagram, and yeah, I mean, I've kind of known the guy before he knew me, but we met at one of his events, one of his meetups at the PTs. Like that was almost a year ago, I think.
Yep, longest standing meetup in Vegas.
Big real estate flipper here in Vegas, and used to be we'll get into your story, but used to work in the casinos. So I like that. I like the guys that, you know, work their way into the flipping game and investor space, because I meet a lot of guys that were in the service industry at some point that are now in this game. But yeah, you want to say anything about yourself?
Yeah, man. Dealer for 7 years, not drugs, but casinos. Moved to Vegas 2011, saw that the world was on fire. Looking from the outside looking in, you're like, man, anybody who moves to Phoenix, Miami, or Vegas is just going to clean up. I was already a dealer on East Coast, so I'm like, well, that kind of does it right there. Go to Vegas, I can get a job in the casino. Didn't work out how I was supposed to, because unemployment was like 11 or 12% back then. So it took like 8 months to actually get a job out here.
Yeah.
But when I did, you know, bought 2 properties right away. If I knew what I knew now back then, I would be worth like 40 million. Yeah. You know what I mean? It'd be insane.
You never know.
Got real estate license in 2015, started flipping 2017, and the rest is history.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that I called the podcast Winners Only, and I asked this question to everybody that's came on, I've only had like 6 episodes, but I feel like to become a winner at anything,
Still
you have to go...
Set. Huh? Still a data set.
Yeah,
6 to 6. You know?
I feel like to become a winner, to get in that space, you have to go through a lot of adversity, a lot of failure, a lot of, you know, losses in business, in life, whatever it is. So I don't know if you had any, because it seems like you went straight from being a dealer to the game of real estate. Maybe you've had some losses in real estate that have given you some lessons, but have you had any business like complete failure that you just don't pursue anymore? Like, you know, like I started a t-shirt company that just dumb. I did all these random little entrepreneur ventures that failed.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I was kicked out of school because I was selling weed. And then on the day that I got arrested is because 3 people ran at me with knives and bandanas. So, and then run away, end up getting arrested, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I didn't get stabbed, but everybody thought I was going to go off the deep end. Everybody thought I'd just be a problem and just write them off. But from then on is when I worked 2 jobs, working nonstop. I was expelled from high school, which was the best thing that ever happened to me, because there's nothing but bad environment and association. So as soon as I was out of that, full-time Applebee's, Friendly's, which is a chain on East Coast. And I did everything. I did network marketing, which was like my college. I never went to college. Prepaid legal services.
Okay. I did Wake Up Now back in the day. I don't know if it's another MLM, but yeah, freaking. I feel like a lot of us did the MLM game.
At some of the meetups, you'll see Ace Fair. Yeah. Ace Fair is like a $100,000 ring earner.
Yeah.
In prepaid, back when 100,000 used to mean something.
Yeah.
Back in like 2011. But I mean, I had over 30 people in my downline, and and even though I was in it for 2 years, I really only made $2,000 or $3,000.
Yeah.
But that got me down the path of reading every book, of consuming everything personal development, of sales, psychology, business. I've lent money to people on East Coast, lent $13,000 to one of my friends' girlfriends who's opening a hair salon.
Yeah.
That didn't turn out well. But that got me to be way more conservative with everything and look at everything. Like, I don't do YOLO bets, right? Like, we're in Galindo Group's office right now. I respect that he sticks to what he's good at. He doesn't really go too far out of it. Where other people, especially in the last 3 years, they got on some of these trends, whether it's NFTs, crypto.
Yeah, but I also feel like, dude, 2020 to 2022, you can throw money at you can throw anything at a wall and it'll make money. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
for the moment,
crypto, stocks, real estate, whatever. And now reality is setting in. And even for me, like, I was fucking crushing those years. And then this last year was fucking ass. And I'm like, and I told you, I was like, bro, what the fuck? So I'm kind of pivoting into this media space.
You caught in on a great trend.
Yeah.
Amazon not the 3PL, but Amazon drop shipping.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
now you just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, but it's like I feel like a lot of the guys that were crushing in that time, and including house flippers. Like I know a lot of fucking house flippers that had too much inventory. They got wiped out during the fucking that little turn. And you, like obviously Josh, there's very few people that are still posting consistent flips, so that they're still flipping because they I don't know if it's they played it smarter or whatever the case is, but there's obviously something they did that the other guys didn't, and I think that's just being a little bit more conservative, and understanding your numbers, knowing that this was a fluke in the market, and it's probably we're not. I don't know. You think we'll see this happen again in our lifetime, like that fucking specific situation where everything was flying off the market?
Yeah, there's gonna be those cycles.
Is it like every 10 years, or like what is the
history
cycle?
doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. So when you look at the debt cycles, there's 70-year debt, 7-year debt cycles, 70-year debt cycles. We were in a debt cycle to where like Great Recession happened in 2008, and then we were on a ride up all the way until 2022. So obviously it's going to come crashing down because that makes no sense whatsoever, right? It's generally 7 years, so we were due for one. But this is straight up Ray Dalio economics. There's the people where it gets good, money becomes cheap, everything's working, then things start to fall, money constricts, everybody falls off, and then the cycle just continues. It'll happen again.
Yeah, I mean, what
People
I keep
get high
hearing
on
right now
success.
is like, because the election's coming up, like, do you think rates will come down in the next year? And obviously, with that, another little mini rush. 'Cause I'm just like, dude, like, you never know what's really going to happen, but I'm just, everybody's trying to predict like what's going to happen. Like, what's your thoughts on the market right now?
It'll happen way slower than what you expect.
Yeah.
And everything does. But right now we got a great jobs report, even though, have you seen that Rick and Morty episode? No, I'm not going to go there, but there's like, good is bad, bad is good, pain is pleasure, pleasure is pain. So we got bad news today, which is good news, which is the jobs report came in really low. We're at 8.7 million job openings. There's supposed to be 9.2. So we way underperformed. But what does that do? It drops the 10-year treasury. 10-year treasury drops interest rates. The weaker the economy is, the lower the interest rates will drop. Right now, the Fed is doing something to where they're having rates at a restrictive level. Rates are restrictive, causes everybody to constrict. Money is not cheap right now.
Yeah.
And then it'll get to a point to where, like, because the economy is slowing down faster than what they think, they're going to end up lowering the interest rate. They're going to do that for two reasons. One, because they have to, because it's at restrictive levels, meaning they raise interest rates so high to purposely slow down the economy because we were getting way too much inflation. And they're successful at that. And then number two is because the United States literally can't afford this debt. Like, right now, our biggest bill as a nation is our defense bill. And our interest payments on our debt is higher than defense, like higher than our military spending. It's crazy.
This is why I always just feel like we're just like these little pawns. Because like, it's always like, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. It's like, what do you think would happen if, I don't know, like if it was truly a free market? Like, what is like the natural rate of money, like the interest rate? Like, I always have that thought, and I'm just like, we're so dependent on what these fucking people up there are deciding to do with interest rates. It's crazy, and we're just these little fucking pawns running around trying to make money. What are your thoughts on that? Like,
I'm excited, but also scared that President Milei just got elected in Argentina. He's the first libertarian president ever out of any country, right? And his promise is he will abolish the Fed. So he's going to abolish the Fed in their country. They're going to tie their dollar to the United States dollar, which has its pros and cons, right? But if you abolish the Fed, their Keynesian economics exists for a reason, because the boom cycles would be bigger, the bust cycles would be bigger. Keynesian economics, where they can raise and lower interest rates, is supposed to soften the blow of each. Because even though we had massive inflation, Argentina had 40%. We had like 6% year over year. They had 40%.
We're upset about it, and they're having like 40%.
We get bad in employment rate. Their unemployment rate is at like 10 or 11%, where we're at like 3.9 right now.
Yeah.
So like Keynesian economics is supposed to, as things cycle up, tighten those interest rates, make everything more expensive, make it so the boom isn't as crazy, and then as things start going down, like in COVID, they lowered interest rates, which was brilliant. But as soon as they started, oh, inflation's transitory, as soon as they started to see that, even if you think it's transitory, they still should have tightened. If they would have just been better at their job. So this isn't saying that Keynesian economics doesn't work. It's saying that it was a skill issue. They just didn't do it well enough. Like the triangle offense works, but you need to execute it right. You need the right pieces.
So everything you're saying that the way the system works is just to soften the low and what that's so. I'd rather just go through. I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb, but like I feel like I would rather just let it burn or let it fucking go. Like it's. I feel like there's so much control in it. It hinders like the everyday people trying to make it out here. You know.
I'll steelman argument the other side of it, which is when you always soften the blow and you always bail people out. A lot of companies and people survive who shouldn't survive. Some people should be wiped out.
Yeah.
Right. And this makes it so that weak companies stay in business.
Yeah.
Realistically, it softens the blow at all sides.
Yeah, because I mean, what was that bank that just got a
M&T or the Valley or
Silicon Valley Bank? Like they just got bailed out, and I'm like, bro, like they had some of the biggest tech companies like banking with them. Like, what if they didn't get bailed out, bro? Like, Roku's going out of business. Freaking like. What? I mean, again, I understand it's people's jobs and all this, but like, let it happen. Like they made their mistakes. It's not you choose who to bank with, whatever. Is it weird that I would like to see the ripple effect of all that? But it's
it's great because
it's like it's fucked.
In America, you can't start a business right now. Like it's just long-standing businesses who are too big to fail. And if you're somebody coming in new, they put in all these regulations that they're trying to trick you into saying is like, oh, this is to make everything safe. But all the regulations do make it so that when you're a big player, you stay big, and no one who's small could ever comply with those regulations.
But like, why is it that if you're too big, you're too big to fail? Why is that a thing? Because it's like, are they trying to protect the employees that they want to keep the jobs, or like what? Why? I've never I feel like uneducated in the space, and I feel like I don't know how we got to here, but you seem to like talk about it.
I love macroeconomics. So I'll take it to this every time. I don't know how we got here,
but like cool. Like maybe you can educate me because like I don't fucking get it. I'm just like, dude, let people like they let these little guys fail. Why can't the big guys fail? Why do they prevent that? Like, what's the point?
So I'm saying it in two ways. So one, back in 2008, they made it so that there's multiple reasons for each one. Like for car companies, in one part, they're just trying to bail it out, which is crap. Let it bankrupt, let it do the thing, let other people buy it out, restructure it, and make it more efficient. But in terms of a national perspective for those companies, it was you need car companies for when there's a war because they do the manufacturing. Like manufacturing, to make anything one time is super easy. To make it in bulk and mass and to have that manufacturing infrastructure, that's where all the difficulty comes in. So like every country's car company, when there's a war, they step in. What was Mercedes doing in 2002? And World War II. What was BMW? What was Volkswagen doing in World War II? What were all the American car companies doing in World War II? They're all producing tanks. All of them.
That's a thing? That's really? There's no like tank company?
I mean, there's we have Raytheon and all those, but like they step in, like they do massive manufacturing. Volkswagen was producing
so they stopped producing cars,
and
use the resources, the warehouses, all to just start producing shit for the war. I was in the military and I don't know any of this shit. Like, that's crazy. I didn't know that. So like, essentially, a Ford factory turns into a freaking tank factory if we're going to war.
Yeah, and you want to have some nationalistic views. You want to be self-sustaining as a nation.
Yeah,
and we had so much globalism, and everything is a swing pendulum. So we went super globalism. I think everybody's starting to see that there's too much globalism, and you need a bit more nationalism, meaning that you should be able to make and do everything in-house.
Yeah,
like one of the major things is we can't let Taiwan get taken over because their chip manufacturing is so big, so massive.
We rely on them.
Yeah, everything we do is chips.
Yeah.
Cell phones, laptops, cars.
Was that, I mean, I always think about that, right? Like, which again, I love this because I always feel so uneducated and I feel like you can answer a lot of these questions for me. Like, worse, they say, China's like, or potentially we can go to war with China or all this stuff.
Yeah.
But me being in the e-com space, I'm like, dude, I buy 99% of my shit from China. Like, if we go to war, does that stop? Like, we're no longer trading? Like, how does that work? Because I'm just like, I feel like I'm so uneducated in it because I'm like, if we go to war, like if and we owe all this stuff that
Mhm.
we get from China, these chairs are probably made in China. Like
Yeah.
this mic, whatever, I don't know. But does all that stop?
Yeah. Yeah. Now there's going to end up being workarounds. Like if you read the book Shoe Dog by Nike,
Yeah.
they initially were doing everything in China or Japan. Then there end up being some tariffs, and then they moved over to what was it? Either Taiwan or Singapore or
Yeah.
Philippines or something, right? And then they moved to Mexico for a while.
Yeah.
So they found that they were way too vulnerable to China. But if we get into a war with China, the first thing that's going to happen is tariffs. We're going to try to flex our economic muscle. We're going to try to get our allies to not buy from China. What we're going to try to do at the end of the day, even though war you might think is hand-to-hand combat, at the end of the day, you're trying to make them go broke.
That's
That's
the
like
game.
you're trying to starve them out. You're trying to make their people
Because they do
revolt
want us to
against the
spend
war.
money. Like they want all of our money we're spending on material
Yeah.
goods, right?
Well-
like, will they suffer if they just? I thought we were the ones that would suffer if they were like, we're not selling to you anymore. But they want us to go buy their shit. I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
conquering and ruling are two completely different things. So, I mean, if you read the books on Genghis Khan, he conquered really well, but then after you take it over, now you have to rule. And in order to rule, the people have to be happy with you. And if the people aren't happy with you, then they revolt. So, like, let's say China goes to America, goes to war with America, which is basically, you know, old angry white people versus old angry Chinese people. No one over 40 is going to have any say in it.
Yeah.
It's just people who are never going to go to war themselves. A bunch of 6-year-old Chinese
Yeah.
people and 6-year-old Americans.
Send all these people. Yeah.
And then the kids do all the fighting while the old people just sit there and play chess, right?
Yeah.
But if everybody in the economy or everybody in the country is so unhappy that they revolt or they ask for leadership change, that's when the whole war's over. Because you could go to war, we could go to war against any country, but then if we chop the head off of whoever our leader is, or if they do,
Yeah.
the war stops.
That's so confusing.
So you have to make
Yeah.
sure that people are happy, and people are happy when they feel rich.
So then I guess with that statement though, my initial thought is they want to keep their small businesses in China happy.
Mhm.
So they're going to continue to let us buy from them if we're at war, hypothetically. Like there was
They
yeah.
probably wouldn't. Right now, all of our conflicts are kind of going to be indirect. They're making a really big deal about Taiwan.
Yeah.
But like,
So you're pretty like educated in it. So like, do you follow the news every day? Like how involved? How do you digest all this information? Like, do you consume it?
I mean, I consume a bit. I consume a bit to be knowledgeable about it, and to kind of know where things are going. But that's not going to help me as an investor.
Yeah.
The macroeconomic things are going to help me,
Yeah.
and kind of knowing where things are going to go. But
Yeah.
there's certain things that are just out of your control.
Yeah.
Now, there's certain things I'm going to do, but I can't say that until next year. But
because you don't want to be right or wrong, right?
But I'll say that I might not be living in America full time after this year. But
wow, that's interesting. We actually thought about moving to Mexico for a little while.
Yeah,
I mean, because I was in the military and then I got my disability, so I'm 100% disabled. And I was like, we can go to freaking Cancun and live like chill for the rest of our lives,
dude.
And I can get dual citizenships because both my parents are born in Mexico.
Anywhere in Latin America, you could live like a king.
Yeah,
off of like 3,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like 3,000 a month is like rich.
Yeah,
to any one of those nations.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, we considered it, and then we're like, well, we had a kid, and then we're like, let's just stay. We got stuck in Vegas. Not stuck. I love Vegas. But I guess let's touch on the investor stuff, since all the stuff that we were talking about comes into play with how you invest in real estate, right? Do you see a lot of real estate investors not do that? Like they just go and kind of see what everybody else is doing and do it, versus you, it seems like you're taking in the picture of the world and kind of how it affects the real estate market, versus people just look at interest rates like, oh, it's good, it's bad, versus all this other stuff that you're taking into account.
Have to know the macroeconomics of it, of just to be aware how the economy responds to interest rates and what that means for you. And that there's a lot of people who made a lot of money in 2021 who thought that they were geniuses.
Yeah.
I was in a real estate meetup and they're like, every one of the flips that we do sets top of market price in that neighborhood because we put out the best product. I'm like, bro, I've put paint and carpet on some of these houses and beat out all the comps by 30,000.
Yeah.
You're not special. Don't get high on your own supply.
And that's one thing I saw. Everybody in that market, like you just said, paint and carpet versus all these guys were over rehabbing when they could have got the same amount of fucking money.
Yeah.
For not going and replacing everything.
Yeah. And that makes your rehab quicker and everything.
Yep.
But you have to be aware of, is it the market or is it you? You'd rather be in a good market than to be, you'd rather be a bad player in a good market than a good player in a bad market.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, would you rather run a newspaper company right now or a social media company right now?
Yeah.
Right? One's getting more popular, one's getting less popular.
Yeah. You actually flipped the house by this place that we were renting. I don't know. Can you recall most houses that you flipped?
Yeah. Yeah. If you say the cross streets.
Sandhill.
Oh, yeah.
It had a pool.
Mm-hmm.
We lived 3 doors down from it. And I remember I saw you. We saw it listed. And I was like, God damn it. We should have door knocked. That was when I was flipping.
Yeah.
And I remember it was such like a fucking easy rehab. You didn't do
so
much.
easy.
Bro, you did like paint a few things. And I was like, bro. And I saw it and I was like, it's like, you shoulda, woulda, coulda. But we knew the neighbor. We talked to them every once in a while. We're like, bro, Jay got this house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so fun.
I had the in on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gabriel Rangel was my realtor on it. He sent me the deal, bought it from him. I performed on it. It was super easy. I love easy flips.
Yeah.
The pool was really bad, but the backyard was so dope.
Yeah. Because they had their little moving out sale, and I remember we went over there and was like, oh, you guys sold the house? And we're like, well, who'd you live with? And then ends up being Jay Miranda. Yeah, and I was like, God damn it.
I love it.
Yeah, we were renting a house at the time. We lived like 3 doors down from there. Yeah.
The house has good vibes too.
Yeah.
And it's one of those situations where you got to listen to both sides of the story.
Yeah.
Because the ex-wife was only saying how that guy was such a scumbag, a piece of crap. And when you look at him, you're going to get first impressions because he has tattoos up to here, tattoos everywhere. He looks like he's going to...
so trashy, dude.
Absolutely.
It's insane.
But... he even had I think he had a crazy face tattoo and all that too. But nicest guy. Bought the house. He's like, you got to take the shot.
Don't judge people by their tattoos, guys. That's the point to take away from that. We're in 2023. All right. Freaking, let's see. So, I mean, that's obviously in that market during that pivot. Like, I'm sure you lost some money on a few flips, right? Like, what was your biggest L in that market? Well,
I might still be taking one because one was under contract like 3 times, and I bought that one in August. Still not sold yet.
Oh my! So you're still holding on to it right now?
Yeah.
Why not? If you can't sell it, is it just not a good rental? Like, why not just keep it? I mean, I'm sure you could afford it.
I could probably refi it and just have it be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I should put it on market as a rental also.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I did that with like 1 or 2 of them to where they made great rentals.
Yeah.
In Pahrump, I had one to where I was either going to break even or I could turn it into a rental and make like $600-700 profit a month.
Yeah.
So I did that and cash flowing like crazy. But it was about 40 or 50,000 was the loss. It was in Summerlin, no break-ins, no crazy hang-ups, nothing went super wrong. Out of all the houses that I could have lost the most money on, it's crazy that it was this one. But
so it was like the least headache house.
Yeah.
And it was like the worst loss. And now with you saying that, it makes me assume that probably the most headache houses all sometimes end up being the best profit.
Yeah. I mean, ones that I've had multiple break-ins, police call multiple times, multiple problems with the rehab. In 2021, you end up selling it and it appreciated so much because every month was like 1% month over month.
Yeah. It was nuts.
I still made like 60, 70,000.
Yeah. So a lot of the guys that are in the flipping game here, I mean, everybody's goal is right to buy rentals. Is that what you're doing? Like, are you trying to flip to get rentals, or are you doing it at all? Do you have rentals right now? You said you have a few.
I got rentals. If I can get into any subject to or owner finance for less than 10% down, then I'll do it. I bought subject twos where I put more than 10% down, and I do a rehab for 40,000 on top of it. And then when you look at what I did at the end of the day, I got into a 2.75% interest rate, but I ended up basically putting 30% down on the property.
Yeah,
which is not worth it, dude. It's not. So I'm cash flowing like crazy on it because you get a good deal. you get good
but you're
terms.
tying up all that money.
Yeah, you're tying up a lot. So
And you're not able to get maybe I'm wrong. Are you able to get a HELOC on a house that's subject to because the loan's not under your
you
name?
still could, but then they're in second position and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, and monetary uh, factors right now are a little bit more tight.
Yeah. This whole last year, I haven't bought anything. I actually ended up selling a few of my properties. I had a cabin in Big Bear we sold.
Hmm.
Never really cash flow. That the bitch broke even every month, but cool. We got a free. I mean, it appreciated. Made
Yeah.
like 80K in appreciation after fees and everything. We didn't make very much money on the sale, but whatever. I sold a couple condos, sold a house in Texas, but now I'm like, okay. And then I bought my primary last year,
Hmm.
and I ended up not liking the house. We thought we were gonna like it. It was like on an acre and a half, and
Okay.
it was like fucking like it was an older house, but we wanted the land. Long story short is we're trying to move out, and we're like, how do we make this thing cash flow?
Yeah.
Because we got a terrible rate. Like my mortgage was like $4,500, and I was like, okay, this thing is a nightmare. Like, how do I move? We just moved to Summerlin, but I ended up turning it into a pad split, which was like freaking blessing in disguise. Because now to the front of the house, we added some more bedrooms. The front of the house rents out for like 6 to 7 grand a month total
Wow.
on pad split, and I got the acre and a half, dude. So the backyard, I'm fucking subleasing to all these RV people, and they're just fucking storage, $150 each.
And you haven't gotten a letter from the RVs,
What do you mean a letter?
like from the city that they
Oh,
don't
so I,
like?
I got caught. Initially I did live in RVs. So
Hmm.
I put like 7 or 8 RVs back there, people living in the backyard. I just fenced it off, and the backyard was spitting out another 5 grand.
Hmm.
But I got caught by code enforcement. Long story short, I had to kick everybody out. But now I can do storage. So now it's just straight storage, and storage I'm allowed to do. So it's
Okay.
$150 now per unit per storage. But I have like 10 people storage back there, so that's an extra like $1,500
Yeah.
on top of the front rent, and I still have so much room. So I just like refresh that freaking listing on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm just gonna make it a fucking storage lot.
Oh my God.
And I think the
That's
backyard can spit out 3 or 4 grand. The front yard's spitting out like 6 to 7. Bro, it's
so it's a
nuts.
cash cow.
And I'm converting the garage.
Hmm.
Because the garage, it's just storage right now. If I convert the garage, dude, that's an extra 3 rooms. It's a big garage. It's like an 800 square foot garage. I think I can get 3 bedrooms out of it. I'm like, dude, that's an extra 3 grand right there.
That's big.
So this house, I hated it, but it ended up being like a blessing in disguise, and now it's like a cash cow. It's not very fusible. Like it's a fucking acre of land, and just
What a big endorsement of house hacking.
yeah,
And that's on the pad split side of
yeah.
things.
Just the front house would at least break even, and then the backyard, the whole acre is just whatever I can make money out of it.
Mhm.
Like I had one lady reach out, she wants to fucking raise chickens. She's like, "I'll pay you $400 a month for the corner of the lot," and I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
like whatever you guys want to do." Like I just so it's kind of cool. It worked out.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's by South Point, but yeah, those big lots out there.
I mean, I want a house over there. If there's
Yeah.
a house in South Vegas that has a big amount of lot square footage,
Yeah,
I'm really interested in buying it, rehabbing the main house, and then put on like a massive, not shed, but like one of those big garages that's
Mhm.
kind of like a hangar almost.
yeah.
And then just make that into office space and run the business out of it.
Dude, I was thinking at one point I was trying to figure out because my warehouse rent was like 7 grand total, or
Mhm.
like 7 to 8, right? Between the two warehouses, insurance, and all that stuff. And I was like, I live on an acre of land, and if I spend 50 grand, just build a warehouse in my backyard.
Yeah.
And
I would love to do that.
I was like, I'll just build a warehouse in my backyard. I'll run the Amazon business out of my backyard. I have a big side entrance for the semis.
Mhm.
And then because it's a residential address, I couldn't do it. I mean, I could physically do it, but semi trucks and a lot of these big wholesale companies, they won't send to my address because it's a residential address. But I was
Yeah.
like, dude, I have an acre and a half. I was like, why am I paying for rent?
If you could get it zoned for mixed use, that would be so insane.
What is that? Okay, maybe you can educate me. So with the how I just got caught with the RVs, like the
Mhm.
live-in, is there an actual possibility that I can get rezoned to actually make that legal?
I think Noah Herrera would probably be the best person to ask about
I
that.
actually talked to him about it. He actually helped me with the eviction that I'm going through with the people.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I told him
I'm-
I reach out to him as soon as I get the eviction, which it was just granted today. So their
Nice.
24-hour notice was given today, so they will be off my fucking property tomorrow.
That is big.
Yeah.
What a relief.
Yeah.
Once I get to 40 flips a year,
Yeah.
that's when I'm gonna start branching out into other things. So
Okay.
whether that's more savvy forms of real estate, like changing zoning,
Yeah.
there's ways to make that more profitable, which is taking anything that is residential that's like off a busy street, like some of these things like off of Decatur.
Mhm.
You're like, man, that doesn't seem like a residential. This isn't a residential street anymore. If you could
Yeah.
turn this to commercial, triples the value.
Dude, I saw that. Like, I feel like that's the next trend, dude. I'm
Yeah.
seeing all these reels of these land flippers. And
Uh,
it's people who are buying fucking residential, whatever zoning, they're converting it and selling it.
Dude, I'm in a mastermind called Collective Genius.
Yeah.
And when I host my meetups, everybody's a flipper, right? Everyone's a flipper, everyone's a wholesaler here in Las Vegas. But because Collective Genius, there's a lot of people on East Coast,
Yeah.
North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, all that. I would say like 1 out of 4 people there are land flippers.
Dude, it's insane. I'm like,
And
there's
there's so
just
many
so
plays.
many ways to fucking do this real estate thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, now you can just literally sell the same exact piece of land for more because you attach some pieces of paper to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking nuts.
And with some they do the savvy play to where they rezone it. Some they make it so that they put in all the utilities and everything so that you could just build the house right away rather than getting all that put in. But then some, they're just literally calling people like, it's worth $100,000. Hey, would you take? Well, some it's worth $50,000. They're like, hey, would you take 20?
Yeah.
And that's
and
it.
sometimes they will just because it's like, they just want to get rid of.
What else are you doing with it? You're just paying taxes on it.
You mentioned Collective Genius. So like, when I first got into this business game, I was joining every mastermind, and now I feel like the last year and a half, I've just been in grind mode. Like, do you still make time to make sure to get around right good masterminds and all that? Like, I mean, if you don't mind, I don't know if you're allowed to disclose. Like, what does Collective Genius cost a year or two to be in? I think I've heard the number 30 to 50,000 get thrown around.
Yeah. So Collective Genius Premier is like 30 to 50,000 a year. I think it's like 50,000 right now for new people.
Yeah.
But you have to make at least like 2 or 3 million a year to be able to do that, right? So when you're at that income level, it's nothing. You have to have 100 deals a year or volume equivalent. So if you're a flipper in California doing like 25 deals a year, but each deal you're making like $100,000 on, okay, you're still in the cool kids club. I'm in Collective Genius Select to where it's like, 25 deal flow or monetary equivalent or something like that.
Because I know, so the reason I ask is, I know one guy that's here in Vegas.
Who's that?
Smaller flipper. We can bleep it out.
Okay.
Sergio.
Yep.
And I was like, how is he in Collective Genius? I know the dude does like maybe 10 deals a year, 10 to 15 deals. I'm like, what's the requirement to get into this mastermind? And is it only real estate?
Because he's a flipper, and then on flips he's gonna make more. So like if you can make more than like 300,000 a year, you could basically get into Select.
Okay.
And then it'll take you to the next level.
Yeah.
So Select is like a lot of people who are between like 300,000 to $1 million.
Yeah. But this is like strictly real estate.
Most people there are all things of real estate. So flippers, wholesalers, land, some are multifamily, some are stuff like that.
Yeah, because I'm like, I feel like I definitely have lacked that the last year, is like joining it, because I usually like joining some new masterminds and seeing, I feel like even if like one nugget of information helps you, it was worth it.
Dude, they really teach you how to run a business.
Yeah.
And teach you things that, like, if you put on YouTube, it would get no views because it is so specific and exact.
Yeah.
And so, like, this is only valuable to you if you already have a business.
Yeah.
And they teach you things that are.
How often are your meetups with Collective? There was just one in San Diego, right?
That is for Premiere, yeah.
Okay.
And then there's one for Select coming up this January. So I'm going there with Tyler Hubbs.
Okay.
Cool, we're sharing a room together over there. So
Hubbs is in that mastermind too.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you guys know Diego Corzo by any chance? He's in Collective Genius. I was in his mastermind when I first started flipping and buying rentals.
Okay.
He's like a Puerto Rican dude.
Yeah.
Mostly does realtor stuff in Austin and flips, but yeah.
And all of them know Sean Bob too.
Sean Bob freaking went to the San Diego one. Wasn't part of the mastermind. Just showed up. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna show up. And next thing you know, they all know him, so they're just like talking to him. Yeah. Even fucking King Kong gave him a shout out on Instagram because he was looking for some employees out here, some guys to come work on his team. Yeah, it was good. But yeah, I feel like knowing Sean Bob, I actually met a lot of people just having him in my office.
Now he's acquisitions for Steve Trang, who runs Real Estate Disruptors. So
who is?
I mean Dispo for them.
Sean Bob, yeah.
For if they get a Vegas property.
Yeah, no, he's been doing good since he kind of went out on his own and flapped his wings and left the.
I'm impressed, man. Yeah, I'm really impressed.
Yeah, no, I liked seeing it because I mean, when he subleased my other, you saw his little fucking get up at my office.
Mhm.
We like built a room in the warehouse. We were bootstrapping it. I was like, dude, I'll help you out with this. And seeing what he's even able to do this year, it's been cool. I'm like, oh, that was cool. Like it was like his. I feel like everybody has a. I don't know, how would I explain this? Like a pivotal year in their career, their life that is going to be their life changing year. And I
Yeah.
think this was his, and that's really cool to see. And like obviously, like I think I'm still waiting for mine, and it will come. But I
Yeah.
think it's just keep grinding, and eventually it'll come. And seeing it with somebody who I was relatively close with was
Mhm.
really cool. I was like, dude, that's dope. Like, good for
I'm
you.
really impressed by it.
Yeah,
And I'm happy it worked out too.
yeah.
I almost didn't want to have him off on my podcast when it was that close to
Oh,
leaving because I'm
yeah,
like, I want to see what happens.
yeah.
Let's see where this
There's
goes.
a lot of drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Even going to you were at his Christmas party.
Yeah.
There was a lot. There was a lot less people that from a certain organization than last year.
Mhm.
And I was like, damn, dude, this straight up just freaking cut the ties. And I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah. But I mean, it was
That's
again.
big.
I think it was just cool to see literally what 1 year can do. And I wouldn't say 1 year because I would say he took the years of experience of working for somebody else and fucking did what he was able to do in a year. It was insane.
And that's what I'm really impressed by is that he actually did it. Because so many other people, when they cut ties,
yeah,
then they just go
Yeah.
to nothing to where I think he flourished.
yeah.
And if anything, he might be doing more deals than.
I think way more.
Yeah.
Like I think from like talking to him about it, and I don't know if I'll ask him if we can post this. I could edit it out if not.
Mhm.
But it was like, dude, it was seeing it like happen in real time was crazy. Because I
Yeah.
was like, bro, I remember like the first 3 months he didn't get one deal, and he was like getting a little just not discouraged, but we were just like, all right, it'll come. First deal come through, and then fucking next one, and then he got a few deals being disciplined for other people, and then I was like, bro, this is nuts. This is good. Like
He
it was
sold one
cool.
to me.
It was
Yeah.
cool. It was cool to see.
Hopefully I make out on it. A lot of crap happened on that one, but
Yeah, that's fun.
we're at the victory lap now.
That's good. Been getting out. I actually thinking about, which maybe I'm wrong. Lexi, my wife's has been kind of like off of work mode because new baby.
Mhm.
But like normally, if we like to flip one at a time, just on the side of what I'm doing because it's
Yeah.
like she can handle it. So I'm thinking we're gonna start flipping again this next year, just like one at a time. And I usually like to do the cash, like anything I can afford cash. So like
Mhm.
anything under $300,000 to $400,000, I just like to do cash because
Next year should be way better, man.
Yeah.
This year interest rates are way too high.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, interest rates are already dropping.
Yeah.
Like even within the last month and a half, interest rates have dropped a lot. So
Yeah.
by the time you're flipping, even early next year, dude, it's gonna be such a good time to get in.
Yeah, I'm gonna edit this part out. I want to ask just your opinion. So, what time is it? Just so I know when to edit it out. 38. Don't forget that. So, just and if it flows well, then maybe we'll keep it in. Advice from you.
Mhm.
So, Josh has asked me. He's like, dude, I see the way you're operating this new business. I see the way you're thinking. I see that if I had your brain in my house flipping business, we could do really well.
Mhm.
And so he wants me to get involved into the house thing. And I'm like, I don't know. Should I do that? Or should I just go venture out on my own, flip on the side while I do this media thing? I like Josh as a person. Like, we're dope. We get along well. Like, I like just talking to him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, what's your advice there? Like,
I think your skill set is you're a fantastic integrator.
yeah.
So, I mean, have you read Traction or
Yeah.
whatever? Okay, yeah. I think you're a fantastic integrator. You have a great level of common sense to where like you'll just figure shit out and you have the discipline and things that are difficult to other people, you just do.
Yeah.
And other people talk about things, but you just do it.
Yeah.
Right. And you have the good judgment. You can't teach this shit.
Yeah.
Somebody could go to college, they could not go to college, they could have good parents, bad parents. It's like you're either born with this level of common sense or you're not.
Yeah.
And I think you have that. Dude, I know he's gonna pay well. You're gonna be working for somebody else, but it's not real work. It's work, but it's not. You're not.
That's
clocking
where I
in.
was like a little hesitant because I mean I
Mhm.
get it. We all have a fucking ego. Even
Yeah.
even doing this, like it hurt my pride a little bit to kind of officially shut down and then have this new venture with him. And I was like, you know what? Just put my ego aside. I'm in business to make money. I'm not in business to fucking stroke my ego.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, let's see. Obviously, the name of the new company is Galindo Media. It's his name. I'm
Mhm.
leveraging his brand to build a new business, and I'm like. That for sure hurt the ego, but I was like, okay, I saw the value in him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay.
His brand and his like he has the bankroll to
Yeah.
like oh, just put your name on. He'll just put his name on a billboard, put this on a
Yeah.
billboard. If it's time to do something, he'll throw the money at it
Yeah.
because he has the money.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with someone who's undercapitalized. You're not dealing, like, if you're working with Galindo, it's a sure thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To where if you work with an aspiring flipper,
Yeah.
they might not pay you on time. They might not pay you, period. They might not do this.
Yeah.
And from running a business for so long, there's so much fucking stress that comes with it. And like,
Yeah.
now that I've done all this, I think I could finally be like, hey, I could be the entrepreneur to where I work with it and I'm still
Yeah.
doing my thing. And, you know, I don't bear the grunt of all the stress.
Yeah. I think that's, how would I explain it? Like, I think the biggest thing is just like having to set my pride aside. It's
Yeah.
like it is having to, I wouldn't say a loss, but it's like, everybody wants the cool story of starting from the ground up. But I'm like, well, if I start here
Mhm.
in this game, I'll obviously have major hand holding. And eventually, obviously, like, I don't know, like it's funny. I think he talks about this publicly, but like his goal is to hand it off to somebody and just let them run it when he turns 40. Like he says, when I turn 40, I want to disconnect and go spend time with my kids. He's 38, but 39 next month. And I'm like, okay. So he's like, you might like you seem like you can do it, and I like the fact that you've had some money before. A lot of the guys that I bring on have never made fucking a few $100,000 a year. So he's like, and then they get the taste of it, they go crazy, they think they're hot shit, and they go try to do it on your own. You've
Yeah.
seen that money, and like I don't think your life would change if I gave you $500,000 right now. And I'm like, no, like it wouldn't. Like physically, like no. Like so.
And I think you could handle the burden of the stress.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stress that comes with this. And to some people, it would be all consuming and it would take them out.
Yeah.
And then to other people, it just flows right off.
Yeah.
And then you can train that too. Like,
Yeah.
if you haven't dealt with it, it's just like a weight, you know? If you haven't lifted that weight,
Yeah.
then it's too strong for you. But as you start doing it, it starts to get lighter and lighter.
Yeah.
I think you could do it. And, you know, hey, there's a lot of high level entrepreneurs out there or people who take on someone else's company. Like fucking Steve Ballmer. Did you watch NBA?
No.
Okay. So Steve Ballmer bought the Clippers for $2 billion.
Okay.
He used to work for Microsoft, right? Cleaned up. Like, what was it? Wozniak worked for whatever.
Yeah.
Cleaned up. Like, all these people, you would essentially be the CEO 2 years from now.
Yeah. No, that's the
So-
way I would look at it, because I'm just like, okay. And the crazy thing, I'm like, which it kind of tooting my own horn. I'm like, dude, I've been in Vegas 2 fucking years, and somehow I ended up like getting this offer ish, and nothing's in writing. We just kind of just shot the shit, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and I'm really considering it. And obviously, I told him, I was like, hey, let me get this on, let me get this new business on autopilot, and then we'll talk about it. So I'm thinking like January to February of next year. He's like, all right, let's figure it out. I was like, okay. And I also do think I'd obviously learn a lot. Like it's a whole
Yeah.
different fucking game. But I feel like it goes against the Hermosi in me that's just been him. He said it in a live speech that I saw at one of these events,
Mhm.
where he was like, focus on one thing. And I was like, is it the media thing, or now I'm like trying to fucking go dual brain? And I'm like, I don't know. So I'm just like, I feel like I should, because of who it is and like what I'll learn. But I also feel like maybe hold off on it.
Well, that would be the one thing, because the
Yeah.
upside of that is, I mean, Galindo's flipping business. When I started becoming a flipper, Galindo is who I wanted to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
That's cool.
that's
Would you have started if, I mean, I don't know, maybe wrong question. If you knew what you knew now back then, would you have started working with somebody else initially, or would you think you would have you stick to the way that you did it now? That you did it already, I guess.
There's things that I would have changed, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Whether I would have partnered with somebody else, I don't know, because I have a pretty big ego. So
yeah. I think a lot of us in this game do, and I think being able to put it aside as a talent, and I've had to learn that in the last few months, to be honest. Like it's just like,
Yeah.
all right, it's not my show anymore. Like I show up, but
But
it's not my show.
it would be, it's like, are you an employee or a partner at that point?
Yeah.
I can be partners with someone.
Yeah.
I can't be an employee of
No,
someone.
that was
I
the
don't
first
think.
thing I said to Josh when I was like, look, I don't want to be your employee with this media company. Like, let's figure out this partnership and we'll go from there. And we
Yeah.
figured it out. But that was my
And
thing, is like, I'm not gonna come when you tell me. I'm gonna come, I'm gonna do what I want and run it how I want. And essentially you're like a consult, like you will consult me in like your level of, your expertise in running a business. Tell me how I can apply that to this new company. Cause that was the one thing we talked about. He was like, dude, this is the first company I'm starting that I technically don't know anything about, right? Like he knows nothing about media. Like he
which I'm happy he's doing that. And
barely
he
had
does know
like
something about
5,500
media, that
followers.
son of a bitch.
The what?
He does know something about
Well,
social
yeah, but
media.
I'm saying
He's
like
been doing it for a long time. He's been posting videos for a long time.
he only just started January.
And then he talks to me about like, oh yeah, oh, manufactured home. I would never buy one. I don't know anything about it. Flipping. You flip a house, you flip a manufactured home. It's the same thing, dude.
Yeah.
You flipped over 100 homes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Fair. I think his defense was he doesn't know the back end. Like he's only ever been the talent, right? He's never been like, never produced videos, never managed other people's social media accounts, doesn't know when to post, doesn't know all the logistics behind it. Versus, and I didn't either. I told him, I was like, yo, I don't have all the answers, bro. Like, but I'll figure it out. Like, I was like, I'll fuck it. Like you said, common sense, just find the information, apply it. And luckily he had another videographer that he was already working with who kind of knew the game. So we brought her on and gave her a cut of.
And that ability is huge. Just the ability to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like my hesitations is my road to the winner's circle, to the winners only, is not the road that other people take. So I win. I fucking win.
Yeah.
But other people who teach success, they're like, you got to wake up at 5 a.m. You got to like, make your bed in the morning. I don't make my bed ever. Yeah. Right? Because I'm just going to go in it later in the day anyways. Why would I?
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, that's what Modi talks about. He's like, you don't need this fucking fancy. And I used to try to do it and I fucking hated it. This morning routine bullshit of like having to fucking do your affirmations in the mirror. All this bullshit. Dude, I tried it. What was that book? It got really popular.
Oh, The Secret.
No. It was about The Miracle Morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that book got so popular about morning routines and I fucking did it. And I like did it for like a month. And I was like, this just takes up an hour and a half of my time in the morning. I'd rather just like wake up, have some fucking coffee and start working.
Dude, I went to the gym at 11 p.m. last night.
Yeah.
That's not what typical people in my situation do. Yeah. But it works for me. Yeah. Right? Like I can crush it. But working at the casino, you go into work at 8 p.m. You leave at 4 a.m.
Dude, I worked I was bartender and I worked nightclubs and like it was the same thing. Like I would work dinner shift at the restaurant and the nightclub. So I'd get off like 3 a.m. and then I'd go to the gym or something at 3 or 4 a.m. Get home by 7 a.m., sleep 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. or whatever. It was like, I don't know. I feel like now my life's a little different. I have 2 kids, so I kind of have to go with their schedule a little bit. Like as far as like, I do go to bed now like fucking 9 to 10, but I'm up like 4. Wow. I go to bed at 9 or 10, but I get up at like 3 or 4. I would usually work for a couple hours on my laptop, go to Lifetime, play some pickleball, and then come here. That's kind of like my new little schedule I have now. But I used to be like that where I just kind of tackle the day as it came. Yeah. Yeah. And I think you being a single, single dude, fucking no kids. I feel like having that freedom and business would be so cool. And I'm not complaining about my situation, but like with kids and a wife, it's so different. It's like I have to like cater to their schedule. My little one, he just turned 3 a few days ago. He starts hockey in January. So I'm like, fuck. Now I have to fucking commit 3 afternoons a week to go see him practice. And I'm not complaining about it. Like I'm really excited about it. But like having to think about that in this game is like, okay, that's 3 afternoons that I can't work late now. I have to kind of cater to that. So I have to work around that now. That makes sense. Yeah.
To see him practice what, by the way?
He's going to start hockey.
Oh, hockey. Okay.
Yeah, he's only 3, but he starts ice skating. It's a year of ice skating, and then he gets to touch a stick. And then once he's 5, he's ready to freaking start playing hockey.
Wow, that early?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I also fucking chose the most expensive sport, apparently. It's like statistically the most expensive sport to put your kids through. But we'll see, whatever. I want to do it. I want to be a hockey dad, so we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, my cousins are from like Canada.
You're from the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
So you probably are around hockey a lot.
Yeah, a lot more, but still not nearly as much as my cousins who are from Buffalo and Niagara Falls and all that.
Yeah, like we're from California, dude. Like I never have seen hockey until I was an adult, but something about it, just like I really liked.
I have cousins who are pro.
Really?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Not in the States, but one went to Italy and was on their team or something, and then another refs the AAA, so one under NHL. Yeah, and I don't know if he's in the NHL right now.
Did you ever play sports growing up? Or what was your like? I feel like people who like us that end up in this game, they were in some sort of competitive field, whether it's
Yeah.
academics. I know some guys that are like just what is it, the decathlon? They used to like some of my friends are like they were just competitive learners. Like you could
Yeah.
learn competitively. But I was a sports dude growing up. Like I played water polo, I wrestled, and then I swam, and then I played rugby in college.
So I wrestled in high
Okay,
school, and then that's what I did. If UFC was more popular, then I could have done UFC.
dude. Yeah,
Anything pound for pound, because I'm not meant to be a 230-pound person.
yeah.
But if you put me against anybody who weighs the same as me or less, then I'm gonna crush them.
Yeah. Well, I like that you said wrestling because I feel like although it wasn't my favorite sport,
Hmm.
of the sports that I played, as I always liked the team sports.
Yeah.
And technically wrestling is a team sport because like matches or whatever. But like really, it's one versus one
It's
when it comes
solo.
down to it. So I always like that. There's no fucking excuses. You can't lean on your fucking teammate. Like yeah, you can lose your match and still win
Hmm.
the meetup or whatever, the meet. But like you lost, and it's on you.
Yeah.
And like, I always loved that because I was or like cutting weight, bro. Like your teammate can't help you cut weight. Like
No.
that's on you. Like fucking having to. I remember like having one egg for dinner because I was like I needed to get something, and I was trying to cut weight because I
Yeah.
was always bigger. I wrestled 180s, like 182. So and this was in
Big.
high school and everything,
Yeah.
and even in college. But wrestling, I think, has translated the most, I think, to business. In like doing the hard work alone is that's it. Like you have to do it
Mm.
alone. You can't rely on your team.
Yeah.
And that's why I always like the people who say some sort of combat sport where it's one on one, even like
Hmm.
tennis or like something where it's just like one versus one.
I'll say something that I don't want to disclose because I'm really fucking embarrassed about it. But I mean, I played Magic the Gathering,
Yeah,
right? Which is a card game.
yeah,
But the strategies from that, and then like being able, because my cousin played it, so my cousin got me into it.
yeah,
And there's, decks that you play that are more fun, things that are like you get out the biggest person or whatever. But like realistically, this is the path of winning. And
yeah,
even though that's not the most fun thing, even though that's not the biggest combo, it's like if you really want to win, you have to run this.
yeah.
And then this is the thing that's going through, this counters that.
So that taught you
And
more strategy, you think?
it
Like,
taught me of, hey, realistically, the realistic path to win, there's a lot of people in the real estate world right now
yeah,
that come out with this cute strategy. There's gator lending, there's this, you're going to buy this house and then you're going to sublease it to Airbnb and then you're going to do Airbnb arbitrage and then you're going to do this stuff.
and then you're just unicorns and rainbows, right? And it's
If
like,
you just stick to buying property at 80% of ARV minus repairs, and better yet, 70% of ARV minus repairs, you do that over a period of time, you will win. You do that in these neighborhoods, at these areas, and if it's one of these other neighborhoods, you have to get a better discount.
yeah,
So Spring Valley, maybe 80% ARV minus repairs. If we're like East Side in the dime, I might have to get that 65% of
yeah,
ARV minus repairs.
yeah,
And I know the winning strategy. I don't get distracted. I know what will win, and I stick to that, and I don't deal with any other bullshit. And when it comes to getting houses, it's just an inputs outputs equation. How many offers did I put out there? I'm not getting any deals. How many offers?
yeah,
8 offers? That's not enough. Or you need like 100 offers out to get maybe 3 to 4 deals.
yeah. Yeah,
And
it's like a 3 to 4% close rate on the offers.
yeah,
That's nuts. I feel like I mean, most businesses, it's always a volume game. You hear like these cold callers. It's like for every 100 no's, it's one yes, right?
yeah,
That's what I'm even. That's what I think I've always lacked, even in this new media company, dude. It's like I'm not a marketer. I'm not a fucking sales guy. And Chambop gives me shit because I'm not a sales guy. It's funny. I'm like, dude, I'm not a sales
but
guy.
you're still kind of sales.
I don't know,
Yeah.
bro. Like, I don't think I could close. Like, I don't think I'm a closer. I'm just like, dude, I'll tell you what we offer, and if you want it, cool. If not, fuck off. Maybe not fuck off, but like,
Yeah.
I don't like the art of persuasion.
You know Wolf of Wall Street, like
Yeah.
the sell me this pen.
Yeah.
The answer to sell me this pen is,
Do you need a fucking
are
pen?
you do you need a pen?
Yeah.
If not, you keep it moving. You
Yeah.
don't have to do. If
But
somebody says no, that's okay. You just find the next person.
yeah, and that's my thoughts. But then they're like, oh, well, you could have possibly closed. I'm like, yeah, I
Mhm.
don't want to like learn that whole psychology game of like persuasion and asking the right questions. I'm like, dude, this is our fucking service.
But you do
want
have
it?
to.
I don't. I don't get
You'll
it. Like, it's
you'll
so,
have no success in anything if you can't close. I know that you can
yeah,
close to a reasonable extent.
yeah. I
Like,
think if the closers, what I've been able to close up to this point has all been organic. It hasn't been like me trying, if that makes sense. Like I
uh-huh.
haven't learned the skill, I guess.
So you're natural.
I don't know if that's a real thing, but maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. You understand like basic concepts. Like sales and working with people is everything. Like,
Yeah.
hey, there's these skills of real estate, there's these skills of this, these
Yeah.
skills of that. At the end of the day, if you want to run a business, you need to sell the people. You need to get people to go on board with something.
Yeah.
And that is no matter what business you do, people are people. And when you're managing people, you have to know this person is like that. They're going to respond better if I'm like, do more work, pussy, you're underperforming.
Yeah.
This person is more like, hey, you're doing really great. I really love what I see you're doing right now.
That's so
I just
accurate.
kind of want us to start doing a little bit more of this.
Yeah.
But we love you so much here. We appreciate you. And then each one,
Yeah.
it like if you want to motivate me, call me a lazy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, shit. I think I'll take you up on that. You're a lazy shit. Your social media sucks. Let's get you going. How do we
Yeah.
fix your social media?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, how
That-
long have we been going? Okay, that's cool. We can do a few little more things. Let's see. What I wanted to, we talked about that. Anything else we should talk about?
Um
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna earlier on. You asked about like the basics of flipping, and then we
Yeah.
kind of like went on,
Okay.
but of like what sets me apart from all those people who YOLO betted.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we can do that because I think I asked that. I was you take into account like the whole freaking macro whatever economics thing, and then a lot of the guys just look at interest rates. It's good or a bad time to buy. That's it.
yeah, and the other people took into account appreciation.
Yeah.
Like when I was talking to some other flippers, they're like, "Yeah, you know, you make this and it's 30,000 deal. Like all these deals were 30,000 profit." And I was hearing them.
Yeah.
I was like, "Dude, 30,000 is the appreciation alone in this market of 2021, 2022, which means that if you were any other market, you would have lost
breaking
money
even,
or
barely.
breaking even."
Yeah.
But I mean, just solid fundamentals. Don't do any of these new flashy things. It's so simple.
Yeah.
Just get it for less.
Are you doing any of your own direct seller marketing, or is it mostly you're buying from wholesalers and realtors?
Kinda. I got 3 deals right now that I'm going to make over $100,000 on.
Yeah.
And they're because I taught my contractors how to find the deal. I taught them how to find this and how to talk to the people, and we get it, we lock it up,
Yeah.
and then it gets
And they're happy because they get to do work.
yeah. Well, they're still
Yeah.
getting like 20 or 25,000. Where if it was like Sean Bob who got the deal, he would have made 70,000 on it.
Damn, yeah.
You know, or
He
80,000.
would have assigned it for 70.
Yeah, but they've never seen 20,000, so they're crushing.
Yeah.
But I'll do my own acquisitions, but I'm not structured with it. I'm just opportunist with it.
Okay. So you don't have like a full team like that's doing cold call outbound or SMS. So it's just
No.
as it comes, you'll do it.
Well, I've taught literally hundreds of agents and other wholesalers of how to find off market properties and how
Yeah.
to talk to people, how to be aware of it and how to talk to them and to bring it to me.
Yeah.
So even my pool guy has brought me leads. He's brought me 2 leads. Like my contractors have, everybody has. When you talk to enough people and you put it out there, because I'm Italian, it's very belly to belly, right?
Yeah.
So when I meet you, I don't have any shame of like, dude, if you see anybody with an off-market deal, send to me. If you know someone who's getting foreclosed on, you know anyone who they have a rental, their house just got trashed by their tenants, call me up. I'll buy it from them. I'll buy right away. And if you say this to enough people, then eventually you get ratios that occur. Or you're at a property, you just talk to the neighbors. But I say it to the neighbors.
Well, it's what you're saying. It feels like what I hear everybody preach is like just staying top of mind and everybody's fucking
Yeah.
you know, in your sphere of influence. I fucking hate that word because everybody fucking says it. Your sphere
And
of
it's
influence.
very network marketing.
Your sphere of influence, like you just got to stay top of mind, and it's like, well, no fucking shit. Just tell people what you're doing, essentially. But a lot of people they don't like to talk about what they're doing because they feel like they're gonna come off a certain way or whatever. Even at like family gatherings and shit like that. Like, just tell people what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and even with what you said, that like that's probably something that a lot of flippers don't do is like train their people, their team that's already working for them on how to get the business more business, which will give them more work and just give them a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then adjust how much you're going to pay them to what they think is realistic.
Yeah.
Because if one of your friends works at McDonald's and you say you're going to pay them 20,000, they're going to think that you're lying to them, right?
Yeah.
Be like, I can pay you 2,000, and that to them is still like, oh, that's a few weeks of work,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. That's a
But
good point. I've never thought about that. Like if you offer some fucking kid who's never made $1 20 grand, like he's gonna go crazy. He's gonna think you're lying.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not believable,
Yeah.
you know.
That's kind of sad though, the fact that you have to like play down to some of these people.
Hmm.
It's almost like I don't know like how or what how I don't know. Would you say that luck plays a big part into like the rooms we end up in?
To a point, yeah.
Because
But
like I always think back and I'm like, dude, if I didn't like come across this one book and force myself to do this thing, I'd probably still be bartending in LA in Sacramento.
but still making yourself prepared for that. There's so many people out there right now who are just waiting for an opportunity.
Yeah.
But if that opportunity fell on their lap, if it was like Subway franchises in 1995, like, hey, this is before we got Jared, this is before all this.
Yeah.
We're about to blow up. You can buy into the Subway franchise for, 30 grand or whatever it is. Do you have that money to buy into it? I'm looking for deals all day. If a deal dropped on your lap to where you could buy this for 100,000, you look it up on Zillow, it's worth 250,000.
Yeah.
Can you buy it? Can you perform on it? Do you have the skills? Do you have the knowledge? Do you have enough saved up to put 10% down? Do you know how to get the loan? People are always asking for the thing to happen, but they're not honing their skills for when it happened. So you have to sharpen your axe. You have to sharpen your skills.
Prepare yourself for the opportunity.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't doing that. A lot of people, including me, when I was bartending, dude, I was throwing all my money right back at the bars. I think what I appreciate about your story is you told me which I don't think we talked about on this podcast, that when you were, being a dealer, you were saving every fucking dollar you had.
Like 50%.
Yeah, you were saving as much as you could and you were grinding. And eventually you had enough money to start flipping, or you were trying to be a realtor.
Well, go to be a realtor.
Yeah.
But then when I'm a realtor, other people are like sitting in houses doing open houses. So you're sitting there for 6 hours not getting paid.
Yeah.
For the pleasure to show someone houses where you're not getting paid only if they close.
Yeah.
I wanted inbound.
Yeah.
So when new realtors start, they don't have any money.
Yeah.
So you can't just buy leads. I just spent money on this, spent money on this, spent money on this. This is the thing that was working.
You had ammo.
I had ammo.
You had ammo, yeah. Because that's all money is, a tool. I always look back at my younger self and I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. Because I was literally again, if I knew then what I know now, even bartending, dude, I was making $6-7 grand a month, like crushing just bartending full time. All of it was going back to the bars, and my expense, my rent was $700. I had no car payment. I was making $5 grand. I could probably save $4 grand a month. But I was just blowing it on stupid shit, like going to nice steakhouses when I don't have any money. And looking back, I'm like, bro, what the fuck? I mean, whatever. I learned.
I heard the stories about the old dealers. And just to give you some perspective of how much dealers made, I was a dealer at the Mirage in 2012.
Yeah.
And the full-time dealers there would make about like maybe $65,000 a year.
Yeah.
Full-time dealers in 1989 when it opened were making about $65,000 a year. But the difference is, in 1989, gas was less than $1.
Yeah.
Condos were like 60,000. Like,
yeah,
you could get a sandwich for $4. Like, things were so cheap back then. These people just spent it all on partying.
Yeah.
They got nothing to show for it.
I feel like personally for me, my first real win gave me a big chunk of money. And I feel like it doesn't normally happen like this. Like most of my entrepreneur friends, they all saved their way to having a good amount of, cash to be able to go, do things and try. I started a business, made 50 grand my first month. I'm like, what the fuck? And it was like the e-com space.
Yeah.
And then I was like, holy fuck. And while I was in the army, dude, the most I had made was $3 grand a month. And then obviously when I was bartending, but I was spending all of it.
I had so many failures first.
And I had failures, but I had many failures. I spent like $2 grand on t-shirt stuff in college, trying to start a t-shirt company. I bought 2 vending machines, bought them, didn't know where to put them, stupid or whatever. But I had a few failures, but I had a bunch of mini failures. And then I just had one big win. And the big win kind of gave me money to go try to do things.
Yeah.
because I was like, I never had money to do things. So like my first second month in the ecom game, I made 50 grand like in my pocket, and I'm like, I was confused, to be honest. It was almost like you just said, like I didn't believe it. Like I was like,
Yeah.
dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, who's going to take this away?
Push the remote.
In 2021, I was making so much money. I thought like I was going to get a knock on the door or something like that.
1 second. Fucking logo turned off. I don't know why that happened.
Oh, that happened. So
That's weird. Whatever. We'll just close it off there. What was the last thing I just said?
in 2021, I was making so much money it felt illegal.
Yeah,
Like,
dude. It was just like it didn't feel real. So that I remember like seeing the deposit,
mhm.
and then I remember putting 25 grand. I just remember put 25 grand away, and then I was like, this whole 25 grand, I'm gonna spend all on learning shit. And I remember I
Big.
joined a bunch of ecom masterminds. I joined the real estate mastermind, that guy
Mhm.
Diego. I spent it all on like people and like learning, and like that was the greatest return I've ever had ever.
That was like my issue was I prided myself too much on no matter where you drop me anywhere in the world,
Yeah,
at any year, any timeline, any country, anything, I could figure it out
yeah,
all by myself. No mentors, no this, no
yeah.
that. I could just do it all by myself. And I was so stuck on that I think I held myself back a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I can do it.
I don't
But
know
I
who
did that for
said it
me.
though. Somebody told me, and I mean, I even did this in college. I mean, I was in a fraternity. I paid for friends. I got to Vegas 2 years ago, last month. I didn't know soul. Me and
Mhm.
Lexi got here with our kid. We didn't know anybody other than I have like an aunt and some cousins, but we don't even talk to them really. Like unless my mom's visiting us, we never see them.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anybody in Vegas. I show up here. The first thing I do is like, all right, where are the clubs at? Let me fucking, not like the nightclubs, like the people clubs. Join
Okay.
the mastermind. I paid fucking 20 grand to join Pineda's all-star thing.
Oof.
And we hadn't even fucking flipped the house. Like I was just like,
Yeah.
if these are this is where I need to fucking be to learn the things.
And that's
And
so big. It's the culture of it.
yeah,
It's just
it
the
was the
culture that
culture,
you're
dude.
buying into.
I fucking bought into it. I flipped a few houses so that I knew enough to just interact with the people, but I still wanted to do the ecom game, but I just knew there wasn't no any ecom mastermind. So I bought the friends. I made a bunch of good friends. That led me to meet some people. Met Sean Bob. Sean Bob fucking me and Sean Bob hit it off. Sean Bob introduced me to Josh. Now I'm here. And it's like, dude,
Yeah.
all from like, and if I hadn't paid for that 20 grand mastermind, I don't know if I'd be in this room, because it's just like the fucking domino effect, and it's nuts. And I'm like, I was talking to Josh about this. I was like, dude, and he was telling me, he's like, you've only been in Vegas 2 years, and like the fact that me and you were doing business, like that's fucking impressive. Like the fact that you know these people. I'm like, okay. He's like, a lot of people can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you said, drop me anywhere. Like I think we could figure it out now. I think it's just a muscle that you have.
Yeah.
But
It's
cool.
still.
That's a dope way to close it off. You got anything else to say?
Yeah. Follow me on Instagram. If you have any deals, send the deals my way. And if you have money that you're looking to lend, I mean, it's not like I really need it, but why not? Yeah. Hit me up and lend me the money. Just beat what Kiavi gives me.
Thanks for tuning in to Winners Only. Peace.